Hey, Read Through the Word family. Hope that you all are doing well. Today is March the 4th, and I hope that you are read up and ready for our lesson today. We are looking at Numbers 16 and the whole idea of this rebellion of Korah and the people who followed Korah, the Korahites, or Korathites, however you might want to say that, because we just pronounce them. I pronounce them just however I feel like I can. I know Lisa talks about speaking Southern Hebrew and Southern Greek. I do too. In fact, I've been told that I have a Southern accent. Who? Really? Okay, let's look at Korah. Okay, so Korah and the Korathites were responsible. I feel like they had like a great responsibility, a huge responsibility. They were responsible for transporting the tabernacle and the ark and all the items from place to place. I mean, what a huge responsibility, but also an honor to be trusted with this. They reported to Aaron's son. So Aaron's son was over that because Aaron was the high priest. Not one of the sons that got burned up, but the next in line people. So they oversaw all of that. But Korah himself was not content. Let's just say he was dissatisfied with his place of service. Can anybody relate to that? I'm not digging this place of service. I don't want to do this place of service. But you're appointed, you're called, and in their case, they really didn't have a choice. They were appointed. And sometimes we are appointed, but sometimes we do have positions where we agree to, and then all of a sudden, that's just really not what I thought it was going to be. But on a side, just kind of as an aside, finish well, whatever your commitment is. And take a spiritual gift inventory. Find out exactly where your gifts are and ask God to provide a place of service in that area of giftedness. Okay, now let's get back to our lesson. So apparently, now this is what I'm reading because I never sat down and had a conversation with Korah or any of his descendants. But apparently, according to the commentaries I read, Korah was not happy with his position. He actually wanted to be priest. Isn't that very common? It's like, yeah, I want to be that guy. I want to be that girl. So he wasn't happy. He was jealous and resentful of Aaron and Aaron's sons. And he did not understand, nor did he agree with the fact that they were anointed for this special assignment in the church, in the tabernacle. And he just didn't like that. And there were times, apparently, that there was an affront between all of the leaders, and Korah was just not. He basically had a problem with God's authority and how he assigned whoever was leading, which was Aaron and his sons. So he already had this discontentment in his spirit. He was already dissatisfied with how things, the cards that he was dealt. He was not happy with those. So when Moses comes along and delivers the message of the fact that you guys aren't going to be making it over into there. And in fact, you're going to not only not make it, but you're going to be wandering around in this same place for 40 years until all of you die off, and only Caleb and Joshua and those young people here will even go in there. Yeah, that's not a good message to have to deliver. I did feel for Moses, but he certainly had his problems with not taking responsibility for his part in how things fell out. But again, I'm not going to get into that. But so we have this disgruntled person, and then he's already disgruntled, and he is told, "You're not going to be going over there." And that did not sit well with him. And so he caused a huge, huge uprising against Moses and against Aaron. So I say all that to open us up to the lesson of, you know what? When there is an uprising, when conflict comes into the picture, we've got to have a little checklist. And we've got to have a little checklist about the leader or the person that seems to be leading the charge in the rebellion or in the uprising. Let me just say here, some uprisings are necessary. Some of them are righteous anger or righteous uprising for righteous causes, God-led. Okay? Some of them are not. And it is really easy to get on the bandwagon of the squeakiest wheel. And most of the time, the righteous uprising are, I would say, more tame, godly, organized, humble, reverent, respectful, not only to God, but to everybody. And then you have the uprising that we had with Korah. So when you are looking at an uprising, conflict coming up, rising up, be careful about getting on the bandwagon. Okay? Because you might be getting on the wrong, you might be hitching your horse to the wrong wagon. So we need to have identifiers for our Korahs. What do they look like? Well, Korahs aren't content. And Korah was not a content person. We didn't see all that played out. We're hearing this secondhand from our commentary. But we see it played out in the fact that he was rebelling against Aaron and Moses. Rebellion comes out of self-centeredness and discontentment. So we can just read between the lines based on his behavior. This guy's not content. They rise up against authority. Korahs, they rise up against authority. And they also incite others to rise up against authority. Again, you've got to look at the leaders of certain uprisings. There are all kinds of opportunities for us to join in and join together as believers for cause. There are many. We have to be careful who we're hitching our horse to, what wagon we're hitching our horse to. Seriously. And so we have to look at this. What kind of inciting is going on? Is it come and join us and let's pray together and let's brainstorm and is it harmonious or is it violent? Seriously, look for that violence there. And then they act as if they're representing the group when really all they want is power. So you have to read their messages, sometimes between the lines. So basically what we need to do is ask God to give us discernments on what is our role in this uprising, God? If I see it, I'm kind of on the fence about whether this is something I need to participate in. Give me discernment. Help me know whether I need to join this. And sometimes we join with our finances. Do we want to financially support this? What's this cause? Let's move it to fast forward it to modern day. Let's go to their websites. Let's investigate who their investors are. Let's look at what their statement of cause is on their website. Let's ask around and let's do our due diligence to find out what this is about and who is actually, and what is the end game? What is the end goal and how are we going to get there? We've got to be really careful because there are Korahs everywhere. So let's make sure that we recognize them. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.